Welcome to Nollywood Radio France, and we just changed our name. We're now Nollywood-radio.com. I'm your host, Cyprian Johnson. I'm reporting live from Paris.
Hello, good morning to everyone. Welcome to the Nollywood Film Week 2nd edition. We're really glad to have all these filmmakers and producers coming from Nigeria, especially for us. My name is Claudia. I'm a film journalist, a cinema journalist, French and Burkinabe, based in Paris. I do write for Screen Africa in South Africa, then in other publications in France like Afrique Magazine, Soul Film, and I run a blog called L'Afrique en Film on the Courrier International website. To start this presentation, I would like to welcome one man, because yes, we are open. This is a real women conference, but we have a man, a film critic, journalist from Nigeria, who will make an homage to a great producer, Nigerian producer, who died just recently. So I welcome on stage Shaibu Hussein.
Well, I don't know whether we do it here, but I don't know whether you oblige me for us to stand and pay 1 minute homage to the great Amaka Igwe. May our creative soul rest in peace. All right, you may be seated. Well, we just did this for one of the most significant creative persons that's like more like a gift to Africa and Nigeria motion picture practice. Mrs. Amaka Igwe, who passed on about a month ago and will be interred next week in ROG's job in Imo State. In fact, there's a service of songs for her beginning on Monday, 9th June in Lagos. Amaka for us was a game changer. She got into the industry at the time that Nollywood had just picked up. And once she got in from a strong television background, because she had produced one of the longest running soap on television called Checkmate. At the time Checkmate was running, you couldn't be anywhere like in front of your television set for Checkmate, which ran every Thursday, prime time, 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock. The streets were empty anytime that television program was on air. So when she ventured into movie production, we were happy because we knew that she was going to bring that touch of quality, that touch of excellence to movie making. And indeed she did that when she wrote and produced Rattlesnake, a crime thriller, and then continued with movies like Violated and movies like Forever. Amaka died while she was preparing for the production of a soap in Igbo language. She was concerned that Igbo language, which was a mainstay of Nigerian video films at the start of Nollywood, was gradually disappearing. So she decided that for the new channel that she was given approval to run, Q Entertainment, she was going to produce a soap in her native language, Igbo language, that will run on that production. She had built something like a film village in her hometown and was preparing for that shoot when she breathed her last. Nigeria and indeed Africa is going to miss that woman, that great creative spirit, a woman who worked even more than men would do in the industry, I must admit. She was resourceful, she was creative, and she contributed immensely to the development of the Nigerian motion picture practice and by extension the African motion picture industry. We will miss her, but one thing that we're consoled about is the fact that she has left quality works that will outlive her. I don't know if, if there are outlets where they sell her films. You will just do well by picking up a copy, and you will see that there's an effort to tell stories and tell them well cinematically. We'll miss her, and then if she was alive, I'm sure Amaka would have been here. I'm sure she'll be sitting here to share her experiences with you. But our experiences are well documented. They are up in the media, they are on the internet if you check. And we pray that God Almighty will receive her soul, and then we will be well consoled in the quality of work that she has done. Thank you very much.
Merci beaucoup. Je vais vous saigner pour ce vibrant hommage à Amaka Igwe, qui est donc l'une des fondatrices et l'un des piliers de l'industrie Nollywood au Nigeria.
Thanks. So here to talk with you this morning, we have great producers, filmmakers, and actors from Nigeria. So next to me is Omoni-okwo, Omoni-okwo, sorry, actress and director of Being Mrs. Elliot. Next to her, because we opened the discussion to France and other countries, there is Mildred-okwo. She's a writer and director of the animated fiction called Aya. Next to her is Rokhaya Diallo. She's a French anti-racist activist, but as well filmmaker. She directed a documentary this year called Les Marches de la Liberté. Next to her is Michelle-bello. Mildred-okwo, sorry. I didn't write the same places. Mildred-okwo, producer and filmmaker of the movie The Meeting, which is screened. Next to me is Michelle-bello, producer and director of Flower Girl. Next to her is Tope Oshin-ogun, producer and director of Journey to Self. And Ashonye Michelle Raka, she's actress and producer, as well as scriptwriter, of Journey to Self. And next to her is Nicole Amadefio. She's creator and director of the famous web series from Ghana, An African City. So welcome to all of you. Thank you for attending. So the presentation will be, I have one question, then you all answer, and sometimes perhaps not the French, I will include you, or perhaps not. Some questions are more focusing on Nollywood. And we open after each question to the audience, and we only have 1 hour, so I hope we can do that. Just to talk about female directors, it's always an issue because we are in a man world, so each time we talk about women, this is gender studies, this is women's studies. And there are many filmmakers, actresses, and producers, women in Nigeria. The last AME, African Movie Academy Award, which was held in Nigeria, last week? No? Yeah, in the Bayelsa State. Awarded 3 women. There was Chika Anadu, who won the best film in African language with Little Boy. There was also Patience Ozoko with After the Proposal. She had the best actress in the second role. And also Claudio Chukua in Apaye, directed by Desmond Elliott, as best actress. So there were many awards, just 3 for women, but I'm sure you will tell us more about it. My first question, as I said, each time we present women, it's like, you're not producer, you're not filmmaker, you're women. So I wonder, when did you realize you were a woman? Who's that?
I get it, but to be honest, I don't know if I understand the question. When did I realize I was a woman? Maybe before I turned 10. Is that a good enough answer? Yeah.
traduis juste en français, je dis que comme dès qu'on parle de cinéma, etc., qu'il y a des femmes, on ne parle plus de cinéma réalisatrice, on parle de femmes. Donc je leur pose la question, quand ont-elles réalisé qu'elles étaient des femmes? Because sometimes it's your parents, sometimes it's the society. So, Marguerite.
Bonjour. Mon anglais n'est pas très bon, donc je vais m'abstenir. Le jour où je suis sortie du ventre, on a dit c'est une chic. Et forcément,
When I was born, and they said she girl.
Okay, so if you don't mind, I go on speaking in French. Moi, je crois que j'ai surtout réalisé, je pense qu'on se vit pas comme étant une femme quand on est enfant, enfin, on se vit comme étant un individu. On m'a posé la même question sur quand est-ce que j'ai réalisé que j'étais noire. C'est une question qu'on se pose parce qu'on se vit comme un individu à part entière, mais j'ai surtout réalisé les conséquences du fait d'être une femme quand je suis rentrée sur le marché du travail.
I didn't realize that when I was a child because I was an individual. But it's when I grew up, even people were asking me when did I realize I was a black person. So I just say I realized I was a woman when I entered in the working industry.
I'll change the question a little bit. I realized I was a female director when I went back to Nigeria to shoot my first film, and a very popular actor that I have cast said to me, I've never been directed by a female director before. And he said it with such disdain. And I looked at him, I was a little bit taken aback. And then another veteran, I fired him. And then I hired another person to take his place, another veteran, and the guy looks at my script and he said, "You think Nigerian women can do this?" Because the story I wrote, there were women there killing all the corrupt people. So he said to me, "Are you sure Nigerian women don't think like this?" So I said, "Well, I can take creative license. I want Nigerian women to kill like this." So that's, to me, it was the first time I realized, okay, it's not a very common thing to be a female director, I guess.
J'ai réalisé que j'étais une femme réalisatrice lorsqu'un acteur m'a dit, oh, avec beaucoup de dédain, oh, c'est la première fois que je suis dirigée par une femme.
For me, growing up, I was always a tomboy, so I was very adventurous. I would climb, I'll play with the boys, and so even from a younger age, and I think that's helped me now in filmmaking because I'm never afraid to break barriers, and I never see it as a limit because I'm a woman. When I shot my first film, we were literally shooting on the streets of Lagos, and it was a hot sun, and I was like, I'm tiny, and I'm just like running this whole set and this crew, and people thought I was crazy, and especially coming from abroad. But for me, I don't know, I've always been able to just push myself as a female and not actually limit myself in that way.
Jusqu'elle était enfant, elle était androgyne, elle jouait avec les garçons, etc. Et qu'elle s'est jamais considérée comme femme réalisatrice.
Okay, for me, just like Michelle, I grew up as a tomboy as well. I had sisters, but I was always in the company of my brothers and did all the climbing and stuff and everything. So for a long time, it wasn't in my consciousness that I was female or that I was a girl or that I had any limitations or barriers. And I think it's kind of why I ended up where I am today. Even though I started out on the acting side, but I just found that, I didn't want to be pretty all the time. I wanted to do a lot of great stuff and, actually make things happen. And, like every day when people ask me when I grant interviews and they ask, how does it feel like to be a female director and all of that, I'm like, same way it feels to be any director, because I don't think that I have any sex. I'm just a practitioner. I'm just a filmmaker who's trying to get my voice out there and then, create my own stuff. So as regards me, I have no such gender barriers or think about myself as a female or do what females are not doing, you know. So I regularly just give people that look when they're like, oh, she's a girl. I'm like, I'm a human being, you know. So for me, that's who I am. I'm a human being. I'm a filmmaker like anyone else.
Donc pareil, quand elle était petite, elle jouait davantage avec les garçons, même si elle avait des sœurs, et elle se considère pas du tout comme réalisatrice femme, mais elle fait des films, elle porte des messages et elle se sent pas de défendre des intérêts de femmes.
Okay, for me, like Michelle and Okwo, I was a tomboy. I actually thought I was one of the boys, you know, until I hit puberty, which was very early. But I would say I realized I was a woman when I was in my teens and started discovering things about myself and my body. And talking about the film industry, I would say, because I started in radio, presenting on radio, I experienced a lot of things that you know, from men, especially telling me things like a female can't do that, a female can only do this. And I have always been one who never saw limitations or never believed in the word restriction. So yes, I decided to do something, and that's why I got into film.
Donc comme les autres, quand elle était enfant, c'était plutôt un garçon manqué. Elle s'est rendue compte qu'elle était femme à l'adolescence avec les changements du corps, mais elle ne s'est jamais positionnée en tant que femme. Elle évolue dans sa carrière.
I guess for me, my womanhood had everything to do with why I wanted to write an African city. It was for African women. It was going to be largely led by African women, and it was to kind of slap Western media in the face about a new imagery of the African woman. So for me, I guess my womanhood had everything to do with the creation of an African city.
Je pense que ma féminité m'a poussée à réaliser la série An African City, qui est à propos de jeunes femmes féminines qui reviennent en Afrique. Donc je pense que effectivement ma féminité sert ma créativité, en tout cas pour la création de cette série. So next question, of course, we talk about cinema as you are real women. This is the title of the conference. I will ask you, when did you decide to be involved in cinema? And then I start from this side.
When it was time to choose what I was going to study for university and where my life was going to go at 17, I thought really long and hard, and I didn't want to do something with my life. Like, I get bored easily. I wanted it to be very challenging, something I was passionate and loved, and that was movies. I grew up watching just incredible movies, and so I decided that I actually wanted to make movies. So when I went to study it, it was a whole completely different experience, and I started making short films in school, and that's when I just fell in love with filmmaking.
J'ai commencé jeune à regarder des films, ça a continué durant mes études, et à force de regarder des films, à un moment donné, j'ai eu envie de démarrer ma carrière.
Basically for me, I'd always been an artistic person. I grew up as a child who liked to do a lot of drawing, design clothes, you know, basically do all the creative stuff. So when it was time to go to university, just like her, I somehow ended up studying theater arts, TV and film. And as is the practice, I got into acting first of all, even though I considered myself a very shy person. So I acted for quite a couple of years, and then I was opportune to be an actress on the set of the great Mildred-okwo, who just passed on. And went into discussing the script, and we went like really deep and all that. And I just noticed she just kept staring at me and looking at me and looking at me. And then after it was over, she asked me to wait, and then told me, "Have you ever thought about being a director or directing?" I said, "Really?" She said, "Yeah, that you should. You know the way I talk, my passion, how I like to get into the story and all of that." And I was like, "Really?" And I said to her, probably the first time in my life, I said, "But Auntie, I'm just a girl." And she said, "But I'm a girl as well." I said, "But you are Mildred-okwo." She said, "And you are Tokwe, and you will become Tokwe." And I was like, "Okay, you know." And then she said, "Go and give you the thoughts. When you're ready, come back. If you need training, I will train you. I'll point you in the right directions. And I said, fine, but I didn't pick up on that until about 2 years later. But it kept haunting me, and I kept thinking about it, and I do want to do more. I do want to, I do want to make things happen. And it ate me, and I started reading books and watching movies and, ingesting everything I could on filmmaking and all. And then I gave her a call. I'm like, Auntie, I'm ready. She said, yes, that's it, So I got into the whole trainings and everything I could do, got into television first, directed on TV, and then decided that I wanted to do much more than TV. I did TV for 5 years, and then I decided, okay, filmmaking is that I need to find my voice. I need to say things if I want to say. I discovered my voice. I discovered what I wanted to say when I wanted to say, and as a passion, it totally ate me up. It kicked me off acting. And since I've gotten into it, I've not been able to turn back, been to film school and everything. And I'm very sure this is where I'll be till I die.
Donc j'ai toujours été une personne créative. À l'université, j'ai fait des études de théâtre, puis j'ai croisé la route d'Amaka-Egwe qui m'a vraiment encouragée à passer à la réalisation. Elle m'a dit de lui apporter un projet, ça a pris 2 ans, mais ensuite je me suis vraiment lancée. J'ai travaillé pendant 5 ans pour la télévision, mais je me suis rendu compte que c'était vraiment par le cinéma que j'avais envie d'exprimer mes idées.
Well, for me, I believe in every form of expression, from radio to television to movies to whatever, as long as it's art. I'll say my first experience with, acting started off back in school, my first year in Polytechnic in Nigeria, when I wrote, directed, and starred in a stage play back in school. But I took up acting professionally in 2005 after a crazy audition. And honestly, I wasn't expecting it because we had the known Nollywood faces who came to audition for that part. But they decided to go with this crazy young girl. Since then I haven't stopped. But as a screenwriter, because I'm an actor, screenwriter, and producer, as a screenwriter in 2010, there was a period where a lot of things were happening in the world, and it had to do with, gender violence against women. And I'm very pro-women. I am all girl power, female empowerment. And I decided to, while on this long break after having my son, decided to put pen to paper. And after 3 months, I came up with a screenplay for Journey to Self. And funny thing was I actually wanted to, get a producer or sell the script, someone else to do it, because I never thought. But it wasn't forthcoming. And one night I woke my husband up and I said, I'm producing this stuff. I need to say something. It's crazy. And 6 months down the line, after a couple of meetings with certain people, I got the funding for the movie and contacted my friend, Michelle-bello, who directed the movie. And we're here today. Yeah, so that's my experience.
Donc j'ai commencé à jouer quand je faisais Polytechnique au Nigeria, puis petit à petit je me sentis vraiment un pouvoir, j'avais envie de défendre la cause des femmes et c'était à une période où il y avait beaucoup d'attaques masculines à l'encontre des femmes, donc j'ai décidé de commencer à écrire puisque je suis également scénariste. Et puis un jour, par manque de financement pour mener à bien ces projets, je me suis réveillée un matin en me disant je vais devenir productrice. Donc je suis allée voir mon amie Topi et j'ai réussi à lever des fonds et c'est pour ça que vous me trouvez aujourd'hui devant vous.
I've forgotten the question, but I must say I'm shocked that I'm here. In my family, you had 3 options. Either you became a doctor. If you didn't become a doctor, you became a lawyer. If you didn't become a lawyer, you went and worked for the World Bank. So the 3rd option worked out. I started working for the World Bank. But then 10 years being in development, you realize that really there's one imagery of the African continent. It's always dark and it's always sad. There's one imagery out there of the African woman, etc. That one day I just really talked to my parents about it. I had a heart-to-heart that I want to do something about the imagery of the African woman. And they were just very supportive. And so it's with their support that now I'm here.
J'ai travaillé pour la Banque mondiale pendant des années et ensuite j'ai eu envie d'écrire, j'en avais assez de voir une image négative de l'Afrique, toujours pauvre et maltraitée, etc. Donc j'ai voulu mettre à bien mes idées en en écrivant une série qui promeut les femmes, et j'ai reçu tout le soutien de mon entourage. C'est pour ça que j'ai réalisé la série.
Okay, so I've been an actress for as long as I can remember. I think my very first role in anything on stage was when I was 3 years old. I've always loved acting. I would go in front of the mirror for hours every day as a little girl and be making faces and reading the news to myself. You know, everyone thought I was going to end up as a newscaster or something. But in secondary school, I became the head of the Literary and Debating Society, and so I had the opportunity to write plays, produce and direct them. I didn't know that was what I was doing at that time. I just thought, you know, we have to present something on Parents Teachers Day, so it was up to me to present it. You know, so I'll get everyone together, write a script, produce it, direct it, act in it, you know, because acting is my first love. So unlike most of them, I'm very girly. I'm not a tomboy at all. I've never been a tomboy. So it's really, really strange for someone like me to be a filmmaker, because it's not the norm. You know, I like to be a pretty face. You know what I mean? So it's normal for me to be an actress, but then it's not normal for me to be a filmmaker. But then being in the movies, I realized I want to do this. I'm a scriptwriter. I write scripts. And then I look at my scripts sometimes. I sold a couple of my scripts to some producers, but it never comes out the way I wanted it. I look at the script and I'm thinking, oh, why didn't I just do this myself? This is not what I was thinking when I was writing, because someone else takes it up, they're doing something totally different with the script. So I decided, you know what, I'm going to do this because I think I can. So I went to film school. I studied digital filmmaking, and it took me 3 years to finally do my first movie after film school, because you know, you're not sure, you're thinking, okay, can I do this, can I really do this? I'd written the script, I talked to 1 or 2 people about the script, and then what really pushed me at the end of the day to do Being Mrs. Elliot was, I spoke to someone about it, and he said, oh, is that the movie you told me about 3 years ago? And I went, oh my goodness, I've been talking about this for 3 years, that's just sad, you know. So I said, I'm doing this, I don't care anymore, you know. So I started to put everything together, and, you know, one thing led to the other, and we're here today, being Mrs. Elliot screened. And I've gone ahead to actually do 2 other movies. I know that's crazy. I mean, I'd not presented any of them. I did Being Mrs. Elliot last year. It hadn't premiered, it wasn't even ready, and I went ahead and shot 2 other movies, you know. So, that's my story.
Je me rappelle pas quand est-ce que j'ai voulu être actrice, mais je crois que ça a commencé très tôt puisque je jouais devant mon miroir, je me regardais, etc. Ensuite, j'ai réalisé pendant mes études des ateliers où on écrivait, on réalisait et on jouait, mais j'avais aucune idée que ça allait être plus tard ma carrière. Et puis, moi, j'ai du mal à m'accepter en tant que réalisatrice parce que je m'accepte en tant que joli visage dans les films. Mais un jour, en voyant que les scénarios n'allaient pas dans le sens que je voulais, je me suis dit, bah, il va peut-être falloir que je le fasse. Donc je suis passée à la réalisation, et c'est pour ça que je suis aujourd'hui devant vous.
Alors, c'est quoi exactement la question, s'il te plaît?
Quand est-ce que tu as commencé à basculer, ou pourquoi est-ce que tu as basculé dans le cinéma? En sachant que Marguerite donc, est auteure de bande dessinée Aya de Yopougon.
Et autre chose. Alors, contrairement à mes copines, je n'ai jamais voulu faire du cinéma, réaliser. Je pense que si j'ai fait cette série Aya du Yopougon, c'est pour me déculpabiliser d'une certaine façon, parce que ça fait 30 ans que je vis en France, je suis heureuse en France, j'ai ma famille en France. Mes parents vivent toujours en Afrique, en Côte d'Ivoire, donc j'y vais souvent. Je vais aussi beaucoup en Afrique, dans les autres pays africains, et j'ai la chance de voir cette Afrique qui bouge, qui vit, et tous ces jeunes qui espèrent, qui font des études, qui ne veulent pas tous forcément partir en Europe ou ailleurs. Et puis quand je rentre à Paris, les images que me montrent les médias me dérangent, vraiment. Et je me suis dit, mais je ne peux pas vivre dans un pays, en tant qu'Africaine, est française et laisser voir que ces images, que ce côté misérabilisme de l'Afrique. Et tout simplement, je me suis dit, bah tiens, moi je vais montrer mon Afrique qui bouge, urbaine, moderne, que j'aime. Et c'est là où j'ai commencé à faire des histoires, des BD. Et ensuite, la série a eu beaucoup de succès, à croire que les Européens, que les Africains attendaient ça. Et on a été vendu à plus de 750 000 exemplaires. Et du coup, le film a eu toutes sortes. On m'a proposé de faire un film d'animation et c'est comme ça cette histoire de réalisatrice a commencé.
In the category of all of you, I didn't want to make cinema. I was like you, disappointed with the Africa image, like sad and poverty and everything. So I wanted to do something, and I started writing stories. Then I became to publish a comic book called Aya, which was released on 750,000 books were sold. And then someone proposed me to make a movie, so that's why I came into cinema.
Alors moi je vais rejoindre les deux dernières interventions qui ont eu lieu, dans le sens où j'ai vraiment voulu faire des documentaires, donc en plus moi je suis dans un domaine particulier qui n'est pas la fiction, parce que je trouvais qu'en France il y avait une partie de la population qui n'était pas représentée, et que le cinéma de manière générale, et les documentaires aussi de télévision, ne présentaient toujours qu'une perspective unique qui n'était pas la mienne. Moi je suis française, mais née de parents africains, comme beaucoup de Français, et c'est vrai qu'on est une partie de cette France qui est invisible, à la fois dans les médias et dans le cinéma, et quand on est visible, on est rendu visible par d'autres, donc qui racontent les choses à notre place. Donc ma démarche était tout simplement de porter un peu la voix qui est la voix de cette génération qui est inaudible, et j'espère effectivement continuer à essayer de raconter ces histoires-là, mais encore une fois avec une perspective qui est la mienne et qui, je crois, est partagée par d'autres.
So I'm not into fiction, but into documentary, and as I realized that I was born in France, I'm French, but my parents are coming from Africa, like many other French actually, and I realized that our voice is not needed by some people. I mean, it's others who tell the stories for us. So I wanted to tell a story for that, to defend this point of view, and that's why I'm making film actually in France.
So, after you've pleased your father for several years and gone to study law, you sit in a courtroom one day and eureka, the audience is entirely too small. There's that ugly, mean judge there, there's a bunch of jury members, and you're just like, man, this is too small. I could be seeing the world, you know. Packed up my baggage, and I'm sure everybody thought I was nuts, and I wanted to tell the African story. I could have stayed back in Los Angeles practicing law, or maybe gone to Hollywood. I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. They have too many people telling their stories. I want to go back to Africa, and I want to go tell the African story from the African perspective. I don't even want to be an African filmmaker living in America. So I packed my bag and baggage, and here I am, back to Paris.
Après avoir supplié des années tes parents pour faire des études de droit, tu te retrouves dans une cour de justice, et là l'audience est beaucoup trop petite, il y a quelques juges, il y a quelques avocats, et c'est pas suffisant. Moi je veux voir le monde, et donc j'étais à Los Angeles et je me suis dit non, moi je veux raconter des histoires d'Afrique depuis le point de vue africain, donc c'est comme ça que j'ai fait mes bagages et qu'aujourd'hui vous me voyez à Paris. So now we'll talk about Nollywood. Maintenant, on va parler de Nollywood. We thought there are many powerful women driving projects in Nigeria, but I wonder if they take the place, or if men did offer the place to them. Donc je demande au Nigeria, il y a beaucoup de femmes puissantes au niveau du cinéma, dans l'industrie. Là je leur pose la question, est-ce que c'est les femmes qui ont pris cette place ou est-ce que finalement c'est les hommes qui leur ont laissé cette place?
Do you want me to say that? Okay, let me just quickly say, whether you're a man or a woman, nobody offers you any place. Like I say, there are no vacant positions anywhere in the world. Someone has to move for you to get into a position. So nobody offers you any place. You're going to have to stand up for yourself and say, I want to do this. And I'm going to do it against all odds. Because with every odds, there will be many. There's so many people who are going to tell you, you cannot do this. There'll be more people who will tell you you cannot do this. So are you going to listen to those people who say you can't do it, or you're just going to stand up and do it? So did the men give us the chance? No. We decided we were going to do it, and we stood up and did it.
On ne m'a pas laissé la place, j'ai pris la place. De toute façon, les femmes, où qu'elles soient dans le monde et quoi qu'elles fassent, doivent prendre la place. Et à un moment, c'est quand elles arrivent qu'on va leur faire la place et voilà.
And you know the funny thing, as much as we think that African men are very chauvinistic, I've never had, I feel I would have had people tell me I couldn't do it more in America than in Nigeria. Because I just started making films. There's never been any one Nigerian man that told me I couldn't do it. And it's just been amazing to me. They've just been like, hey, okay, here's a filmmaker, let's do it, you know. And I've been pleasantly surprised. And I think that there are also some women who come in and they think that the men are just going to move aside and let you go. They didn't move aside for themselves. Why should they move aside for you? You know, you're just another person coming in. So that's my experience anyway. There are other things as well. I mean, being an actress is a different thing or whatever. But as a filmmaker, nobody has told me I couldn't do it. In fact, I've just been like one of the guys or whatever, one of the human beings doing it. So I'm pleasantly surprised by that in Nollywood.
Donc elle dit qu'elle a été agréablement surprise qu'on lui a jamais fait la remarque, par contre en tant que réalisatrice femme, ce qu'elle fait là, mais qu'au contraire, elle fait ses films et qu'elle est juste une réalisatrice de plus au milieu des réalisateurs. Donc elle pense que pour les actrices, pour chaque métier c'est différent, mais qu'elle en tout cas a été agréablement surprise. But as a producer and agent, because you are also an artist agent, how is it as a female agent or female producer? Je lui demande en tant que productrice et agent, parce qu'elle est aussi agent pour des comédiens, est-ce que sa place de femme est mise en cause?
Well, maybe because of my background, and I guess when you see how big I am, you're going to try and stop me. I don't think so. So, I mean, Omoni is doing her thing, Michelle is doing her thing, Tope is like one of the few television directors we have. There are not that many. Amaka Igwe was doing it years ago, you know. So I think it's a good thing. I don't think that men in Nigeria come out to say, no, you can't do this, you can't do that, you know. And they might just be skeptical and watch you, but once you prove yourself, hey, you're one of the team. But they will watch you to make sure that you prove yourself. But they also watch other men as well to make sure that men prove themselves. But somebody must have proved me wrong. I just haven't heard that anybody telling me I couldn't do it. Maybe they were thinking it, but they didn't say it out loud.
Donc encore une fois, on ne m'a pas remis en question. Alors c'est peut-être du fait de ma carrure qu'on ne veut pas me remettre en cause. En tout cas, je n'ai pas ressenti ça et on me laisse avancer. Bien sûr, les gens sont sceptiques, ils vont regarder mon travail, mais comme ils le font avec des réalisateurs hommes ou avec des professionnels hommes.
Yeah, I've had similar experiences. I haven't had anyone tell me I couldn't do anything, not even my parents or friends. And for me, I'm quite stubborn in the sense that once I put my mind to something and I'm really passionate about a story and I want to do something, no one can stop me anyway. So even if that was the case, you know, obviously I wouldn't have listened. But I've been very lucky since I've been in the industry. The men have been very supportive. both cast and crew and other big filmmakers in the industry. So I've been very lucky in that sense.
Donc j'ai moi aussi été chanceuse, il n'y a absolument personne qui m'a dit tu ne peux pas le faire. J'ai eu beaucoup d'encouragement et des professionnels, de mes équipes, etc. Même de la part de ma famille. Donc moi aussi je suis chanceuse et personne ne m'empêche de faire ce que je fais.
My experience is slightly different. At the beginning, at the point when I decided and I was sure that I wanted to be a filmmaker, start directing and all that, I remember a particular discussion I had. I think I was on a movie set acting, and I discussed it with a couple of other gentlemen. There were 4 of them. They were actors at the time, and they had worked on 1 or 2 sets as directors. And I mentioned the fact that, you know, I want to be a director, I'm going to be a director. At this point, I had read all the filmmaking books ever. So I knew a lot about everything in my head, but I actually hadn't gone out to shoot anything. And then they all turned and looked at me like, really? I said, yeah, really. Really? I said, yes, really, what's the problem? And then they started throwing questions at me. Okay, so if you were going to shoot around the conference table, where would you put your cameras? So if you were going to do this, you know, basically testing to see if I knew anything about what I wanted to do. And I kept answering their questions, and they were like, okay, we'll come back to you in about 2 or 3 years and see if you still want to be a director. I said, watch me happen. You know, but needless to say, all 3 of them today, I have shot more than they have, all together. But probably since then I've just shot 1 thing or so, and you know, they're just there, and I've done a whole lot more, and these are the same people that come and like, I'm proud to know you. I knew her when she was that. I was like, well guys, you didn't actually encourage me, you know. And apart from that, along the line, I've had the look from men. It's just, you know, the look that says everything like, who are you? Like, what are you doing? You know? And then I look at them back like, yeah, I'm a human being like you are, you know. So I've had those looks here and there that on their own could be discouraging. Like, I mean, probably they just really needed to know that I was sure of what I wanted to do. I was sure that I knew what it was all about, you know. And for me, I go ahead and do what I want to do anyway. I was sure it was what I wanted to do, and I got into it, and I didn't think that I was a woman. And I just went up and got it, you know. So irrespective of what they thought, which I got a lot of, or if they thought I could do it or not, I knew within myself that I could do it. I knew within myself that I was prepared and meticulous enough to have my own voice. And I just went out and got it.
Donc contrairement aux autres, moi quand j'étais sur les plateaux en tant qu'actrice, j'avais lu tous les livres possibles et imaginables sur le cinéma. Quand j'ai commencé à dire que je voulais être réalisatrice, tout le monde m'a regardé en disant ah bon, ah bon, ah bon, et tout le monde a voulu me tester en disant bon alors dans cette salle de conférence où est-ce que tu mettrais la caméra, etc. Et puis finalement j'ai fait des films, les gens étaient dubitatifs, mais après quelques années j'ai fait beaucoup plus de films qu'eux, donc la place je la prends et peu importe ce qu'on me dit, maintenant j'ai trouvé ma propre voix et je fais les films que j'ai envie.
Okay, like I said earlier, I started off on radio, and it's amazing what happens behind the microphone. Yes, it wasn't exactly... I have stories. I had an immediate boss who was a man, and I was pretty young when I got on radio, and he was a mother, complete the word if you may. Anyways, I left radio 10 years ago, and I've done music, I've done presenting, because I majored in broadcasting in school. But coming to movies, I have actually had support. Journey Cell is my first movie. Like I said, I just said I wanted to do this because I couldn't get someone who understood the story that I wrote. And yeah, I've totally got, you know, massive support from male directors, even from my female filmmakers. You know, it's amazing the amount of support we give each other. And my experience has not been, I've not had any bad experience as a filmmaker in Nollywood, and I hope it stays that way.
Je n'ai jamais vraiment eu d'expérience négative en tant que réalisatrice au Nigeria et j'espère que ça continuera. Au contraire, j'ai reçu beaucoup de soutien et notamment de la part de toute cette communauté de femmes réalisatrices.
Yeah, I must say, most of the production crew on our set were men who were all very supportive. I do sometimes feel, and this could all be in my head, I do feel, the other director on set was a man, was Dixon, and I do think there's something about when the male director says something versus when the female director says something, in which I felt like the male director's word carried a bit more weight, but that could just be all in my head. But I think one part of your question was, did anybody step aside, and I think unknowingly for me, I guess being from Ghana, it was Shirley Fimponmanso. The fact that I've been watching her for 10 years do this, it kind of just, she never said this is the way to do it, but just by watching her for 10 years, it was kind of, I mean, this is the way to go about, you can do this, Nicole. Anytime I watched her movies, it was kind of this message that you too can do this. Yeah.
Donc elle a eu la chance, elle, au Ghana, d'avoir une réalisatrice, Shirley Frank Pong, sorry. Shirley Frank Pong, qui a fait des films pendant plus de 10 ans, et du coup, à chaque fois qu'elle regardait ses films, c'était une vraie motivation pour se dire, toi aussi tu peux le faire. Donc en fait, tant que cette femme réussit et fait des films, c'est la preuve pour elle qu'elle peut le faire aussi. Now we open the question to you, the audience. Les questions sont ouvertes. Allez-y, il n'y a qu'un micro, donc je vais faire un peu de sport.
Hi, thank you so much for being here. I'm like super fans of all of you. I mean, like I haven't watched all of your films, but I watched that, and I'm always like looking for the next African City series. So I'm like really humbled to meet all of you. So my question is, so I went to Misfits last night and I asked a question to Daniel, like why did he choose a female character for his film? He said that he had researched that people are more open to that in Nigeria, and it was for like, you know, to have more successful sales and to make it more of like a more touching, I guess, story to bring people in. So I want to know, what do you, as African women, Nigerian women, what do you bring to the African woman character that might have been maybe missing or not yet represented by male directors, or maybe even wider? Like, what do you bring to men characters? Like, what does your vision of the world as Nigerian women? What does that bring to Nigerian cinema?
D'abord, merci à toutes d'être là. Je suis une grande fan de tous vos travaux, de Aya. J'attends tous les épisodes d'An African City. Et moi, j'ai vu hier le film Misfits et j'ai écouté le réalisateur qui parlait de son personnage féminin. Du coup, je me pose la question pour vous, en tant que réalisatrice nigériane, femme, comment vous choisissez vos caractères, vos personnages, comment vous les développez, autant les personnages hommes que les personnages femmes?
Not just Nigerian, but like obviously
D'accord, pour tout le monde.
African women.
Qui veut répondre?
Well, I guess when you make a film, you're constantly trying to create rounded characters. Because when you watch, when I was watching a lot of Nollywood, I would see characters that were not very well developed. You understand, like the women were all these one-track women, even the men were not very, Nigerian men, a lot of them are very sensitive as well, you know, but I did see that you have them show all these brash people, and the women were all these wicked women, and all this, you know, very well-rounded, and it wasn't, I don't think it was a product of bias. I think it's just that they didn't know how to create the kind of characters that would be memorable. So that's what I do when I create a film. I try to show characters that also have faults. And nobody is perfect. You know that that most Nigerian men or women can relate to. So that's why if you watch a film like The Meeting, you'll see a man there called Makinde Shaw, the protagonist, and I think he's a symbol of the frustration that most Nigerian men and women face in the society. So that's what I do. I must bring my voice to everything I do. Every time I tell a story, there must be something I'm saying, and I want people out there to know about my country, my continent, you know, the world at large. So it's very important to me.
Quand je regardais les films de Nollywood, je trouvais que les personnages étaient assez pauvres, qu'ils étaient pas assez complexifiés. Du coup, quand j'écris un film, j'essaie de rendre des personnages très riches et surtout de leur permettre de faire des fautes parce que personne n'est parfait et que j'ai besoin que les gens se reconnaissent dans mes films. J'ai besoin de montrer la sensibilité des hommes aussi et j'ai besoin d'exprimer ma voix, de montrer mon pays, mon continent et surtout de faire passer des messages à travers mes personnages. Ça semble...
Yeah, generally women are known to be, in any profession or, any part of the world, women are known to be more detailed. We pay more attention to the little things. I think to a very large extent, this is to a very large extent what the female filmmaker brings to the table. Our works are usually very detailed. We go into the core of humanity, into personality, emotions, and even when it comes to the technicalities of the work itself. If you try to do some research, you will find that there's a lot of careful framing in films made by women. The framing is usually, more artistic. It usually is saying more, positions of characters within the frame, relations of artists to one another, expressions and all of that. You find that they're more vivid. You can actually feel what the characters are feeling like. I watched Mildred's The Meeting. You feel like, this is someone I know, this is me, this is my experience. And I found that also, with works of other female filmmakers here. It's like we bring you in touch with the characters, we actually get you into them, get to know them, and then we are also able to tackle and deal with real situations today, what people are going through, what your experiences are. You can watch and relate with what you see. And I think that's basically what I will say. Studying my work and the work of other filmmakers, I'm very much intrigued with humanity and who we all are. And I was still discussing with Michelle yesterday, just what Mildred said, that life is not in black and white. There is nobody that is all bad. There is nobody that is all good. I never work with characters that are all bad or all good. Even my antagonists are never all bad. Because, like I said to Michelle, even the armed robber, even the kidnappers or whoever they are probably good fathers at home. They have kids who love them. They have a wife who dotes on them, So there's always that side way, that it's shades of gray. And that's what I like to present. Fine, you're the protagonist, fine, you're the antagonist, but what makes you bad? What makes you good? What is your struggle? What is your journey? That's what we like to do and illuminate in a lot of our works.
Ce que je remarque, c'est que les femmes font très attention aux détails, que ce soit dans mes films, dans ceux des autres femmes que j'observe, une attention particulière, même au niveau de la mise en scène, des images, tout est très travaillé. On fait attention à moi, ce qui m'intéresse, c'est l'humanité, c'est comprendre qui sont les gens, qu'est-ce qui les pousse à faire ce qu'ils font, peut-être même que les kidnappeurs sont des bons pères et ont une femme qui compte sur eux à la maison. Donc j'essaye de montrer toute la complexité de mes personnages. But I think someone disagree with you, and I would like to give him the microphone. Let's listen to that. Je dis juste qu'il a secoué la tête pendant tout le temps où elle parlait, donc il n'est pas d'accord, donc je donne la parole.
It's not a disagreement, really. When she says that women are more detailed, it's that's a perspective. Incidentally, I've made more movies about women than any other work I've done, right? And as a director, you need to be detailed. You need all what she said about the woman, right? As a director, is what is expected of her and of any director, whether it's both male or female, right? So that's just why I chuckled, not necessarily because she said something of. As a director, You have to have eyes for detail. Everything is there. She said it has no gender discrimination there. But having a microphone, maybe, yeah, maybe what I should ask the female directors, or add, so to speak, is this right now. Yeah, from my experience, from what I've foreseen of female directors, particularly those who graduated from being an actress to being directors, right? Is it not because you've had that exposure on the silver screen, and you now feel that, look, I got a platform, let me just do what I feel, and you have access to whatever it takes to do it. Is that not what is the driving force? I'm not saying that to those of them who are not actresses, but I think the trend we've seen with female directors from where I come is in that direction. Actresses becoming directors, becoming producers. Is it because the men don't give you the opportunity, or you just say, look, I have the platform now, I get to do it?
Donc j'ai rié tout à l'heure parce que moi l'essentiel de mes films je les ai faits avec des femmes et je ne considère pas qu'il fallait être une femme réalisatrice pour faire attention aux détails. C'est un travail de réalisateur avant tout de faire attention à la particularité de chacun de ces personnages. C'est pour ça que je secouais la tête pendant qu'elle intervenait. Maintenant je profite d'avoir le micro pour poser cette question. Je vois qu'il y a pas mal de réalisatrices ici qui étaient d'abord actrices. Donc je me pose la question, êtes-vous devenue réalisatrice et productrice parce que vous avez eu l'exposition qui fait que vous pouvez évoluer dans ce sens, ou est-ce que c'est parce que les hommes ne vous ont pas laissé l'opportunité de faire ça d'abord? Who wants to answer to him?
Okay, I think, you know, I don't know if I'm correct now, but I think what Tope was trying to say is that it's the mothers in us, basically. I don't know if I'm right, because it's something about women where we, what's the word now? We do things a lot from here, whether professionally or in our personal lives. And I'm not a director. You know, at the moment I'm not even considering it because it's a pretty hard job. So, yeah, but I think basically, I think basically it's a passion, yes, talking about the drive, it's a passion. Coming from being an actress or actresses, talking about Tope and No Money now, I think after years in front of the big screen or in front of the screen, you know, they want to tell their stories in their own way. They want to just do something they're passionate about and, you know, make a change positively in their own way. So I think that's it basically. Yeah.
Sorry.
Ce que disait Achillonier, c'est qu'en gros, ce qui fait peut-être la différence pour des réalisatrices par rapport aux réalisateurs, c'est peut-être le côté de mère, en fait. Hein. Le fait qu'elles soient des mères, des mamans avant tout, et du coup, elles ont une manière de faire attention qui est un peu différente peut-être de celle des réalisateurs. Achillonier n'est pas elle-même une réalisatrice, elle est pour l'instant une productrice et une scriptwriter. Mais pour l'instant, elle envisage peut-être de devenir réalisatrice à un moment donné. Mais pour Omoni et pour les autres qui ont fait le chemin de passer d'actrice à réalisatrice, c'est surtout la passion qui prend le dessus et c'est la passion qui fait qu'elles font cette transition-là. Il y avait Chica qui voulait ajouter quelque chose.
Okay, so I'm going to answer the question and beat a little bit into what was said. I think what Tope was saying, Uncle Mami, is we as women are a bit more nurturing. We cater to, we see more, we see beyond the regular. And it's not that the guys don't see, but sometimes you don't have the patience for it. No, that's not true. A lot of women see the little trickles that normally a lot of guys wouldn't see or wouldn't think that it's that necessary. That doesn't make them bad filmmakers, it just makes them guys. And no offense meant. Now, Asheni was saying mothers. I don't
think anything to do with being female has anything really. As mothers or as girls, we're women. Women tend to love more. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But either way, we feel more, we love more, so we do whatever we do more. We dedicate ourselves to whatever we do more. And I've worked with all three of the women here, at least four. Yeah, whether as an actress, worked with Tommy before as an actress, worked with Mildred in the media, worked with Omoni and being Mrs. Elliott, and each person has their little take, the thing that makes them, and you feel more comfortable. I have also worked with men, but there's something I love about working with women. I spent 7 years in TV working with the late Amakiwe, so I can tell you for a fact, when you're working with a woman, with a female director, there is a certain sort of sense of feeling that you get. More feeling.
Elle préfère travailler avec des femmes réalisatrices parce qu'il y a une manière de travailler, une manière de ressentir les choses que les hommes n'ont pas, tout simplement. Les femmes font toujours plus, les femmes donnent plus, et à partir de là, ça lui permet d'être encore plus à l'aise et de se sentir mieux, tout simplement, quand elle travaille avec des femmes. Et une protestation ensuite de Mahmoud. Mais avant ça, on va élargir peut-être. Il y a juste Catherine aussi qui voudrait parler de ça.
Je suis tout à fait. Je comprends ce que vous dites, Chika. Sauf que, effectivement, vous parlez pour le Nigeria, je pense qu'on ne peut pas généraliser, universaliser en fait votre propre propos, qui est très intéressant. Je pense que c'est intéressant d'entendre aussi les deux Françaises qui sont là, qu'on n'entend pas beaucoup et qui n'ont pas répondu à plusieurs questions. Parce qu'il y a un vrai débat, et en tant que femmes françaises, elles ne sont pas nombreuses, femmes françaises noires à faire du cinéma, à aller se battre contre ces hommes. Voilà, donc c'est intéressant. Donc je voudrais juste recentrer un peu le débat là-dessus. Voilà.
So I do understand what you said, Chika, but I think perhaps it's the case of Nigeria, perhaps it's not the universal point of view, and I would like to focus on those two directors from France, because there are not so many black filmmakers in France, so I would like to have their point of view.
Moi, ce que je voulais juste dire, c'est que je pense que c'est un peu dangereux de s'égarer dans des terrains où on conférerait des qualités naturelles aux femmes et des qualités naturelles aux hommes. Après, je crois qu'il y a des différences dans le travail des hommes et le travail des femmes, que les femmes peuvent prêter des attentions à des choses particulières, parce qu'en tant que femme, on sait qu'on ne pardonnera pas la moindre erreur. Donc effectivement, comme ça a été plus dur pour nous d'arriver, qu'on a besoin de faire de travailler 2 fois plus pour arriver au même point que les hommes, nécessairement, quand on travaille, on est beaucoup plus minutieuse, parce qu'on sait que la moindre erreur peut nous coûter notre carrière. Et après, je ne vais pas illustrer ça par mon travail, mais quand je regarde par exemple une série comme An African City, je vois bien que la perspective qui est présentée est celle d'une femme, et qu'un homme n'aurait pas pu raconter ça, parce que ce qu'elle raconte, elle le raconte parce qu'elle a expérimenté toute sa vie le fait d'être une femme. Donc évidemment, en tant que femme, on raconte quelque chose de particulier, mais en tant que bourgeois, on va raconter une vie particulière, en tant que jeune également, en tant que vieux. Donc il y a l'expérience de la vie qui donne un regard particulier. Mais encore une fois, je crois vraiment que les différences qui sont liées au travail des hommes et au travail des femmes ne sont pas liées à des qualités naturelles, mais véritablement à la difficulté que c'est de travailler en tant que femme.
C'est ça. So I do understand what you said, but I think that it's really dangerous to talk about natural things from a women perspective or a men perspective. So I do think, I just say that as we are women, it's really difficult to work, and you have to take care of, to make really a lot of attention of what you're doing, because people are looking at you, and it can cost you your career. So that's why I think it's you cannot talk about natural things. Perhaps people have a natural way to do things, but it's not it's not the main point. It's just about how you feel when you're directing and what you do. A man.
Yes.
Excuse me. What I'd like to commend first is coming from Hollywood, having a double degree in filmmaking, and probably Mildred left me in LA. I was there when he was back to Lagos. Let's give a round of applause to all these women. There shouldn't be a challenge for the men because there is a format for directing. It should be a challenge and even make us do better work with each other as the women are coming along as director. But the mere fact that the women are coming along, it takes Hollywood a while. When you look at a movie, you're not looking at a movie to see, is it directed by the women or is it directed by the men? You are looking for good story, good flow, good way, and if it's done by the woman, you didn't get that message. It's flawed. So it's not about maybe now there is an ego, I'm a woman, I want to direct. It takes Hollywood a while. Even the women are still struggling in Hollywood today to become a director. For us in Africa, to have a director woman from Ghana, I don't know if Saj purposely choose all these women to have a women directors, but I'm very proud of it because these are the pride of Africa.
Je viens du Nigeria, je suis réalisateur, je tenais à applaudir toutes ces femmes. Je ne pense pas que les... Sorry, my mind is going fast. En tout cas, je pense que les défis sont les mêmes pour une réalisatrice à Hollywood. C'est toujours de se faire sa place pour faire ses films. Et je tenais à dire que vous êtes vraiment la fierté de l'Afrique. Sorry, there was a lady.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. My name is Vicky and I'm an actress from Flower Girl. Question, I'd like to find out in your experience as filmmakers, what has been the most challenging for you? Did you consider quitting because of that challenge? And how did you overcome it? Thank you.
Bonjour, je suis actrice dans Flower Girls. J'aimerais demander quelles ont été vos plus grandes difficultés et avez-vous songé à arrêter votre carrière à cause de ces difficultés?
I think the biggest challenge for me and probably most of us here is funding. You know, you have a good story, you have everything set to go, but the money is not there. And then every day you're thinking, where am I going to get the money to do this movie? Because I really want to do this movie. So for me, that was the biggest challenge, and I don't think I'll be wrong if I'm talking for every one of us here. You know, so going out and looking for that money is a constant struggle in African filmmaking. I think I can say Africa, right? It's a constant struggle, and well, if you really want to do it, then you don't quit. Like I said, it took me 3 years to finally get my movie done, and the biggest challenge was funding. The story was ready from the beginning, but I just didn't have the money to do it. But that didn't stop me. I kept thinking of ways. If you notice, my movie has a lot of product placement. Oh, sorry, you guys have to live with it, but I had to get the money somehow. You know, so that's a real challenge even today for everyone.
Pour moi, ma plus grande difficulté, ça a été de trouver de l'argent pour réaliser mon film. J'ai mis 3 ans, j'avais mon scénario, etc. Ça a mis 3 ans à trouver les fonds. Donc je pense que quand tu veux vraiment quelque chose, tu ne lâches pas.
Alors, moi, ce que pas les producteurs, parce qu'eux, ils me suivaient, mais ceux qui ont mis de l'argent, justement, tous les financiers, ce que je voulais, c'était avoir que des comédiens africains ou d'origine africaine mais qui vivent en France. Je voulais les avoir dans le film et je voulais en générique, au début du générique, avoir leur nom, que leur nom apparaisse. Ça, je me suis battue pour ça parce que pour la première fois, c'est vrai en France, un film co-réalisé, c'est vrai, par une africaine et par un français, parce qu'on a été deux réalisateurs là-dessus. Qui allait passer dans des grandes salles, dans plusieurs grandes salles en France. C'était assez incroyable cette aventure. Et ce qu'on me demandait, mais tous ces acteurs-là, on ne les connaît pas forcément. Mais moi, je répondais, mais moi, je les connais. Il y a plusieurs plusieurs personnes aussi qui les connaissent. Ils tournent ces acteurs-là, même s'ils font que des rôles de prostituées ou de balayeurs, mais ce sont de vrais comédiens et je vais les avoir dans mon film. Ça, c'était une grande difficulté. Et aussi, on m'a dit, mais est-ce qu'on va les comprendre? Parce qu'ils avaient peur des accents. Mais alors que, je dis, mais ils vivent ici, ils travaillent en France. Et le but, ce n'est pas de mettre des accents dans ce film, parce qu'aujourd'hui, dans les grandes villes africaines, la plupart des gens n'ont même plus d'accent. On est tous tellement rivés sur les télés. Et je dis non, moi j'ai besoin juste d'intonation. Et bien sûr, pour moi c'est important qu'il y ait tous ces accents africains, parce que je voulais plusieurs comédiens africains. C'est pour ça il n'y a pas que des Ivoiriens, parce que je suis d'origine ivoirienne, mais il y a des Sénégalais, des Camerounais, des Congolais, et ça c'était vraiment la grande difficulté. Ils avaient peur qu'on ne reconnaisse pas ces comédiens et qu'on ne comprenne pas ce qu'ils disent. Et je me suis battue jusqu'au bout pour les avoir tous, et c'était vraiment ma fierté d'avoir tous ces noms, Pascal Nzonzi, Eric Ewané, Issa Maïga, Tela Pomaou, et voilà, c'est une première en France, et j'espère que ça va continuer.
So for my feature animated movie Ayla, I did have the fun as producer came to take me, but I did have to fight to have a 100% Afro cast for the voices, and the main point was the producer didn't know them, whereas they were living in France, even if they were coming from Africa, and they were asking me also, will we understand them? About the accent. So I had to fight a lot, and I'm really proud to have the cast, and I had to fight as well to put their names at the beginning of the movie, because it was important to me. I'm from Ivory Coast, but I wanted to promote different voices from Africa, not only from Ivory Coast, and it was my main fight.
So, because I'm a new filmmaker and this is my first project, something I'm certainly trying to learn about is how to handle the criticism. I think it was after episode 4 in which another female creative called my characters educated whores. And I remember just wanting to stop then. I said, I can't, because this is my art. We're just trying here. This is a lot of hard work. And so for me, I think the biggest challenge is, you get a lot of praise, but it's interesting, throughout the day you can get 100 emails and 100 tweets and all positive, and then you get that one, that one negative blog or that one negative tweet, and which doesn't feel very constructive. Constructive criticism is one thing, but when it's just mean, that has been something that I've actually had to go through a journey internally to figure out how to handle.
Pour moi, mon principal problème, ça a été la critique. C'est mon premier projet, en African City, donc la web série. Et il se trouve qu'un jour, j'ai vu un commentaire qui traitait mes personnages de putes. Et ça, je ne l'ai pas du tout accepté. Pourtant, j'avais des centaines de mails Facebook et des centaines de tweets favorables qui m'encourageaient. Et je me suis demandé, mais comment un seul message a pu me faire même penser à arrêter la série. Donc voilà, pour moi, la difficulté, c'est la critique.
Okay, so my question actually is to you, and you kind of opened it up for me already when you talked about the criticism, is that when I first heard about An African City, somebody described it to me, they pitched it to me as, oh, you should watch it, it's like Sex and the City, except with an African twist. And so earlier on you had said that you wanted it to be sort of like a slap across Western media's face. And so how do you feel knowing that that is out there, that it's compared to Sex and the City?
Ça tombe bien que vous veniez de réagir parce que je voulais poser la question par rapport à Africa in the City. Maintenant, les critiques occidentales commencent à la comparer à la série Sex and the City. Donc, comment vous trouvez cette comparaison?
Okay, it is generally consider that women are emotional beings. Generally. And I've been having a ton of conversations with a lot of my female filmmakers, as it were, and I've heard a ton of them say stuff like they've approached men who fund films and they say, oh, I don't do business with women. And part of the reasons go back to the fact that they think that women are too emotional to handle certain aspects of the chain of business. Pressure, call it whatever it is, but somewhere along the chain they feel like because of the way women are wired, they have the tendency to crumble somewhere in the middle of that. I don't know if I'm clear. So I would like to know, and I know that women are wired very differently. Some women are more emotional than others, some are stronger than others, but I'd like to know what your process is in terms of filmmaking, because I know this is some of the things that are real stuff for my people. What your process is? Are you the kinds of filmmakers that know how to separate between being who you are and being or doing what you do? What are your processes like in terms of how you apply yourself as an individual to your artistic forms, basically?
Moi, je voulais revenir sur le fait qu'on dise que les femmes sont peut-être plus émotives que les hommes. Donc, je me posais cette question-là. On m'a rapporté aussi des femmes m'ont rapporté des propos comme quoi les producteurs ne voulaient pas les financer parce qu'elles étaient trop émotives. Donc, je me demande dans votre parcours comment vous faites pour séparer en fait qui vous êtes de ce que vous faites. And to answer the first question about African city.
Thank you. So, I've been told that I should mind, but I love it. I love the comparison. And it is what it first inspired me to do an African city, was watching reruns of Sex and the City. I actually love the comparison, and for people who say it's not like Sex and the City, but then they go and say it's like Girlfriend or it's like Girls Today, I enjoy it. I think it gives people a frame of reference, and I'm absolutely fine with that.
Oui, j'ai eu besoin de cette comparaison avec Sex and the City et ça ne me dérange pas du tout, au contraire, je suis flattée parce que les gens ont toujours besoin de références et moi ça ne me gêne pas d'être comparée à Sex and the City.
I wanted to answer Osi's question. It's just like I used to think women talked more than men until social media came out. I used to think women were more vain than men. Social media came out. All that stuff is a myth. We're just different human beings. Everybody is wired differently. It's not whether you're a man or a woman. I'm telling you, so many myths that we've had, they're being broken now, But as to your question, how do we deal with these things? I just deal with them by example. So I make a film that's successful. Now everybody wants to fund my film. You see what I'm saying? They'll do it to anybody. Some people have the gift of gab. Some people, they have this gift of gab. They know how to get money from anybody, I don't have that gift. So I always have to constantly work hard to prove myself, to show them this is how it can be done. But there's some people, they may be guys, they may be women, they'll just walk in there and get that money in 2 minutes and blow it and go back and get more, and I'm still on my first one, you see? So and they could be men, they could be women, so I just think it's a personal journey for you, you know what I mean? Just try and prove to people that you can do it, and that's what we've done with the meeting. We asked for money for years, nobody was doing it. We decided, you know what? Stop buying clothes, stop buying whatever, all the posh cars, put your money into your business and show them that you can risk your own money. And that has worked for us so far,
Je reviens encore sur cette question. Moi, je suis pas trop pour ces discours. Les femmes sont comme ci, les hommes sont comme ça, ce qui expliquerait qu'on naisse comme ci, on naisse comme ça. Il y a une grande variété parmi les individus, qu'ils soient hommes ou femmes. Donc, je ne considère pas cette spécificité. Regardez-moi, j'ai fait un long métrage qui rencontre énormément de succès. Je sais qu'il y a des gens qui ont le don pour trouver des fonds, quel que soit leur projet, ce n'est pas mon cas, mais ce qu'il faut faire, c'est travailler étape par étape, gagner de l'argent et le réinvestir dans ces projets, continuer d'avancer. Last question, Tella.
Bonjour, alors en fait c'est pas vraiment une question. Je m'appelle Tella Pomaro, je suis comédienne d'origine béninoise. J'ai grandi en Côte d'Ivoire et je vis en France depuis 13 ans. Je me définis comme une hybride voilà. Donc c'est pas une question, c'est juste pour vous dire merci. Merci déjà à ce festival qui montre une autre image de l'Afrique, notamment du Nigeria. Moi, je découvre un peu grâce à ce festival les films nigérians. J'ai toujours dit que bon, le Nigeria fait des films, bof quoi. Et là, je découvre magnifiquement le Nigeria et aussi l'Afrique. Je vais dans le sens de Monique pour dire que oui, quand on tient à quelque chose, il faut se battre, c'est pas évident. Merci Mildred pour ce magnifique meeting. Voilà, moi je suis à un moment de ma carrière, entre guillemets, où je me pose beaucoup de questions, je me dis est-ce que je continue? Et grâce à vous, grâce à vos interventions, je dis oui, je vais continuer. Merci.
So my name is Tella Pomaro. I'm from Benin. Grew up in Ivory Coast. I'm an actress, and I'm in France since 13 years. I would like to thank this festival to show another vision of Africa and of Nigeria. I always heard about Nollywood movies, but I thought it was, and then I came and I'm really surprised, and it's really good. So I would like to thank all of you. I really agree with what you said, like do it, continue. I would like to thank you for your participation, and I'm at that point of my career when I'm asking myself as an actress if I continue or not. But thanks to all of you, yes, I will continue. Merci à tous, je suis désolée de devoir clôturer comme nos invités étaient un peu en retard. On ne peut pas déborder. Les séances continuent cet après-midi à partir de 13h. Serge va vous dire le programme. Un grand merci à tous. Thank you to all of you. There will be a screening from 1 p.m. Serge will tell you more. Thank you to all of you for attending this conference.
Thank you very much, everybody. Merci beaucoup. Ça continue, ne partez pas. Les films commencent à partir de 13h. Merci encore à tous.